You got the Sheikh Isa Prize for the humanity service.
Yeah.
I want to know at the beginning, what was the turning point in your life that drove you to this field?
Oh, okay.
Let's take another direction.
No. Actually, to be very honest, I've always wanted to do this, but you make all sorts of excuses because you're on a paper chase. I'm always doing this and this paper and this examination and moving up. My medical career, and I reached a point where there was so much crisis going on in this world. There was war in the Balkans, there was Kosovo, and then there was earthquakes in India and everywhere else. And I know every time you turn on the television, you don't see anyone from a non-Western country or a Muslim in the forefront.
Right.
And I asked myself, I thought we're supposed to be caring and, it's in our faith to care for other people, even though they are not the same race or religion. And where are we? I'm sure we're there, but where are the Muslims and where are the non-Westerners?
So it was sympathy for your own race?
It was not pity. I think it was...
Sympathy?
Empathy, not empathy for my own race, but actually frustration.
Okay.
Frustration that we were not visible and, wondering why is it that in empathy was global empathy, okay? It was about cross-boundary empathy. It was about the solidarity that is required within nations and within faiths and within, interfaith and international. So I guess, I also felt I had been so privileged in my life, and I was in a country that was peaceful and did not have any natural disasters, and a very multinational, multiracial country, and we had become peaceful and remain peaceful because we were able to live together and be tolerant and be sensitive to each other's cultures, and that was required. That kind of model of tolerance had to be somehow shared with other communities.
Let me do the second question. Through Mercy in Malaysia, you managed to bring people from the Malaysians and non-Malaysians from all walks of life for one goal, which is serve those in need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you do that? I mean, was it very easy, or did you have any obstacles? In brief, because I want to go to the second.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it was. I think I was able to communicate very clearly my vision, very clearly what the problem was.
Were you alone as a
I
woman?
was initially alone, but I had my husband to support me, and I had some friends.
Right.
And I think it was also a time in our nation's history where people were beginning to want to do these things. So, the opportunity was there. It was new, it was novel. We had young professionals and older people who wanted to contribute.
Right.
And I think I just, at the right time created that platform and as a catalyst. So now there are many organizations in my country who want to do the same thing and who are doing the same thing.
Right. Voluntary work can be very dangerous, right?
Yes.
You were shot in Baghdad.
Yes.
You had a bullet in your hip.
Yes.
Okay. Was it true that you were roaming around for like 4 or 5 days with that bullet in your hip?
More than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me in brief what happened to you then?
Well, this is one of the dangers of humanitarian work. You can get caught in crossfire, and that's what happened to me. But as a doctor, when a bullet goes into you and it doesn't hit an important structure, it remains sterile unless you get it infected. So I knew that if I closed the wound myself, and I would be able to carry on for a while. And I actually had another friend who was more injured than me, and I had to stay with him and make sure he was stable before we could actually move him. Right. And that's why, we were there for some time before we actually left, and then had the surgery in Malaysia.
Right.
Not easy getting through
metal
detectors.
That was very brave, one more thing. How do you see women's involvement in humanity services in the Arab world, precisely?
I think more can be done.
More can be done.
Much more can be done. I mean, look at Bahrain. Your women are leaders. They are active in government, they're active in civil society. You have so much to share in terms of, your approach to gender development and women's rights. So in the humanitarian sector, I found myself, and let's be honest, unfortunately, many of the crises that we are facing now happen to be in many Muslim countries. And as a woman, I can actually gain access to other women. I can actually talk to them. And when you gain access to women, you gain access to families.
What are your recommendations to them? What should be done?
My recommendations is to their husbands to please allow your wives to play their role for humanity.
Are you sure women want to do that?
I hope so. I'm sure there are.
Do you think men are the only obstacle?
No, it's women themselves.
The women themselves.
I think
exactly.
women, if you put your mind to it and you can convince your spouses and your families, and it's not necessarily giving up full time, even if you can, whatever way you want to contribute, even if it's within the country or within the region, I think there's a lot to be done.
Doctor, in one of your quotations, you mentioned that you've seen children with ripped up legs, and this is nothing compared to what they have been through. Do you think if, women in this part of the world have to see children in such a situation, so something could be triggered in them?
Well,
or do they need, a wake-up call?
We don't expect all women to try to be heroes. What you need to do is be sensible. I think that what we need to do is to not only be the first liners, but to build relationships with local organizations and similar organizations so that we can transfer knowledge. It doesn't mean that they have to go out in the field. There's many ways you can be engaged with in the humanitarian sector. I think this whole image of, Superman coming in is wrong, is a wrong image, and sometimes I worry that I may be giving that image because most of the time what I do is actually work very closely with communities and try to get them to be engaged and work with local governments as well. And yes, in some of the emergency phases, you need to be out there. As a doctor, especially, I can be very useful in an acute crisis. But it's going longer than that. It's about livelihood development. It's about education. It's about, getting them back on their own feet.
Last question. What would you like to say on the occasion of getting the prize?
Well, first of all, I'm very honored that His Majesty has set up this award in the first place and that the nomination committee and judging committee felt I was worthy of it, and I'm very, very grateful. I hope that Bahrain will continue to inspire the global community on humanitarianism, and I hope that this is just the beginning of many other good things to come for the country and for humanity.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.